The gym. My old stomping grounds. Hank Patterson, Fly Fishing Guide.
Riley Smith, tight end.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Hey, you wouldn't happen to be the kicker?
No, tight end.
Again, thank you. I'm looking for a kicker for Lithia Ford's fall kickoff sale. But you're not the kicker.
No.
Yeah, the kicker's probably taller and in a lot better shape. So, okay. What position do you play?
Tight end.
Squats. Yeah, try it sometime.
I may be retired, but I still have finances to manage. With direct deposit and automatic payments, ICCU makes it easy to spend less time banking and more time baking.
RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, is going all in this season with an all-star lineup. First up, he led the Broncos to 3 conference championships and 10 20-win seasons. It's Coach Leon Rice. Next, he's the founder and CEO of RowPaint.com. He played a little basketball in high school on the driveway with his mom. It's Andy Rowe.
Oh, no. Want to just paint my house?
Now that I can do. When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust RowPaint.com to get that job done right.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Canned Cocktails is perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing, Boise State fans? Good morning to you. Happy Tuesday. We're going to have Jay Tust joining us in just a second. We got tons to talk about. We got Boise State football. We got Boise State basketball, and exciting times in Bronco Nation this week as we get set for Thanksgiving on Thursday. I am coming to you live from Orlando, Florida. 82 degrees, sunny outside. It's a perfect day here in Florida, and we'll have coverage of Boise State at the ESPN Events Invitational all week. So we'll have some interviews coming up here this afternoon, maybe some tomorrow, and then Boise State plays on Thursday night against Virginia Tech in the first game of the ESPN Events Invitational as they look to put the loss to Clemson behind them. So we'll talk some basketball on this show. Certainly going to talk a lot of football as well. So who do you want to be the next head coach? Are you coming around on Spencer Danielson and all? Let us know your thoughts on who you want that to be. We're going to talk to Jay. I did just get a new column from Mike Prater. And he says we're going to be posting it shortly. I don't want to give too much of it away, but Mike Prater believes still that it's time to go outside the family. Mike Prater believes that going outside the family would be the best hire. We'll talk to Mike Prater tomorrow morning on Bronco Nation News Live to get his thoughts on what he thinks about things and his thoughts on the coaching search and where things are at. I do not know about the new recruit yet. Been doing some things down here in Florida, but have not seen who it is, and so I apologize for that. But again, let us know what you think of Spencer Danielson's increasing opportunity to potentially do this, and he's certainly a guy that is come a long way. You look at where his coaching career and how he's made it to this point and takes over as interim coach, and now Spencer Danielson, in some folks' minds, and in my mind, could put himself in a position here to make this a very difficult choice for Jeremiah Dickey here in the near future. So we'll have Jay Tust joining us here in a minute or two. I believe he's getting ready to log on, so we'll talk to Jay. But obviously, it's going to be potentially a tough decision for Jeremiah Dickey to make. You guys tell me, but I cannot remember any season for any team in a while where with 3 weeks left in the season, you fire your coach and you still have a chance to win a conference championship. Mid-season like this, it just seems insane. And, Spencer Danielson, let's be honest, is getting a little bit of if they win the championship, it's not necessarily all Spencer Danielson. There was a lot of chaos happening. Who would have thought that Air Force was going to lose at Hawaii? Who thought Fresno was going to lose to New Mexico? Some of these scores have just been the oddest of scores so far in the Mountain West to put Boise State back in position here. So, yes, Spencer Danielson is doing a heck of a job. He is doing some nice things, but he's also getting the benefit of the doubt thanks to some crazy things happening in the Mountain West. Because if Boise State, wins big against Air Force, but they wouldn't have got a chance to go to the championship, would you think any differently of Spencer Danielson, whether he's hoisting a trophy or not there at the end of the season? So let's keep that in mind a little bit. But I do think what Spencer Danielson is doing is very impressive. And if they come out and play well against Air Force and win that game and get to the championship, again, they are putting a tough position for Jeremiah Dickey to be in. Jay, let me know when you're ready and we'll pop you on here. Okay, couldn't tell if you had headphones or not there, but we'll bring in our man, Jay Tust. How are we doing, Jay?
I'm okay. We got a full house, so I have lost my my office for this, and I have misplaced my headphones for this. So we are off and running here on this Tuesday, BJ.
No worries, man. It sounds fine. And hey, Camille. Nice. We got a rare Camille appearance on the show here. Who else visiting? We got family visiting?
Yeah, both my parents are in town, the in-laws are in town, and so it's just a little bit of a packed house at the moment. But hey, we're gonna make this work, right?
We will. I appreciate it. I literally, pushed my family out the door. They're down at the pool here. My family was met me down here. They're joining me here in Orlando for the tournament this week. So, we were able to they're down at the pool, and I've got the hotel room here, and excited to talk some Boise State football and basketball. Jay, you were at the press conference yesterday with Spencer Danielson. We had the I'll wait till you get the headphones plugged in there. I'll mute you for a sec. Oh, there we go. We had a little bit of feedback. But we had the Spencer Danielson press conference yesterday. Bronco Nation News, we had Brandon Walton there. He wrote a story on that, and I watched the press conference on the KTVB YouTube stream. But overall, I guess, Jay, just crazy stuff's happening in the Mountain West. Who would have thought we'd be in this position? But I know we've both studied the computer numbers here, but I believe a win against Air Force is going to be enough to get them in. We'll see what the computers say, but crazy that we're having this discussion right now.
It kind of is, BJ. Like I
turn your volume up there, Jay.
Turn my volume up.
I don't think your mic's up very high, at least on my end.
Okay, is that any better? Check.
Better.
All right. Sorry, everybody. You know how it is on Thanksgiving when the family comes to town and everything just turns into a show,
yes,
if you will. Anyways,
you could have used the other word. This is a there's no rules on you. There's no rules on YouTube. We know what you wanted to say.
Isn't regulating this, right? No, seriously though. So I thanks to your good people over at Circus Sports there, BJ. I was looking up some lines, right? You mentioned the New Mexico upset over Fresno State and the Hawaii upset over Air Force, right? Now, those are two kind of key things that had to happen along the way for Boise State to really kind of jump back into the Mountain West race. And in all honesty, now it seems like they control their destiny. If you would have parlayed the money line on those two things, BJ, $100 would have gotten you 8,700. So in other words, what happened for Boise State to get to this point, and this is even taking Boise State and their wins out of the equation. If you added those, it would be even higher.
Yeah.
But if you were just to parlay those, I mean, you're talking about 87-1 odds of New Mexico and Air Force both pulling those upsets. Excuse me, New Mexico and Hawaii both pulling those upsets.
What was the what was the Hawaii spread?
19.
Okay.
Air Force was a 19-point favorite over Hawaii, and New Mexico was a 24-point favorite over Fresno State. And I know those lines kind of vary depending on what sports book you look at, but I just kind of went with your good friends over there. So they seem pretty reliable.
Yeah,
so,
no doubt. That was one, man. That was just a crazy Saturday night, and I'm trying to get the race down to the Salt Lake airport and get the car returned and everything. And I'm getting messages, turn on the game or check your phone or all this stuff. And you kept thinking, oh, Fresno will come back at some point. Fresno will come back, and then they didn't, and that was just a stunning development, man. And I hate to say Fresno State choked. But when you look at what Fresno State has done the last couple of weeks, they losing to San Jose as well and losing this one. I mean, once they beat Boise State, they were kind of feeling like they had this thing wrapped up, man. They were celebrating down there on the field like they had already won the championship, and things changed pretty quickly.
And it has changed pretty quickly. I mean, even for Air Force. I mean, it was a month ago, BJ. We were worried about this game. I mean, we were wondering if Boise State was going to be playing just to get the bowl eligibility against an Air Force team that, heck, might have been like top 12 at this point with the way they were rolling early on. But then they played Army and just kind of everything fell apart for them. After that, they've been really decimated by injuries, which has been unfortunate for them because they truly were having a pretty special season.
Yeah, freshman quarterback now.
Yeah, and now it's just kind of the wheels have fallen off. That being said, Boise State needs to make sure the wheels continue to stay off this Friday on the blue. It's pretty cool though, man. There's like a certain poetic thing going on here that a poetic ending to this season where these kids have been through so much. They had to deal with their head coach getting fired. They're playing really inspired for the interim head coach in Spencer Danielson. All this other stuff is falling in their favor now. And they have the inside track on making the Mountain West Conference championship game, believe it or not. I mean, I don't think we would have said that. I can't imagine us saying that 3 weeks ago, BJ. I thought that best case scenario, San Diego State would have to beat a Fresno State. Nobody thought Hawaii would beat Air Force, and here we are. So everything that has needed to happen is happening. And now Boise State, as Spencer Danielson said, they have a chance to not have an asterisk next to this season. This has a chance to be a really special season, a conference championship type season for the Boise State football team.
Can't remember. I said before you came on, I asked folks, and I didn't get any responses that nobody knows. But when the last time was, with 3 weeks left, you fire a coach, and then you still have a chance to win a conference championship. I feel like there had to have been an NFL season where midway through the season somebody gets fired, and then they get a wild card berth or something. But it just seems absolutely crazy to think that we're in this position. And part of this is they're in this position is because an Andy Avalos led team did get a big win against New Mexico. That they win that game, and then who's to say that Andy Avalos couldn't have got a win against Utah State or Air Force? So I do think Spencer's getting a lot of love, and rightfully so. But I do feel a little bad for Andy Avalos, because I do think that this is obviously he did a lot of work to get to this point, I guess you could say. And you could say, well, if you're the Andy detractors, you could say, yeah, but they wouldn't be in this spot if they hadn't lost to Memphis, or if they hadn't lost the Hail Mary to Colorado State. I do get that part of it as well. But I think that, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Spencer Danielson, but I do think that he's, it's a pretty fortunate spot for him to step into here, where you win one game and all of a sudden you got a chance to play in a championship.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, Andy's guys, a number of the players on the roster were recruited under Andy Avalos's leadership, right? For, one way or the other. And so that you're right. You got to feel for him. That being said, I saw enough in Logan, Utah on Saturday night, BJ, to know that it was the right move. People might take that as an opinion because it sounds like an opinion, but I'm telling you, if you were there, even some of the people that watched it on TV, I'm sure they felt it. That was special, man. That was a night that I don't want to jump or be over dramatic here, but one of the cooler probably post-game scenes that I've been a part of in my time covering this team. I have never, ever seen even anywhere close to the outpour of emotion following a game that I saw on the field in Logan on Saturday night, BJ. That was
I've got both those videos. I'll get them in here in a second. I can't seem to find them at the second, but
I'll buy you some time. I mean, it's just, we heard all week how these players were ready to run through a wall for Spencer Danielson. After the game, I asked George Helani, when is the last time the entire roster, 1 through 105 or however many are currently left on the team, when is the last time everyone had that much fun? George Helani said, well, for me personally, probably 2019 when we won a Mountain West Conference championship. 2019, BJ. I asked Ahmed Hassanin the same thing. He had a couple sacks. He continues to be one of the best sack pass rushers in the Mountain West Conference. And he couldn't come up with an answer. He was like, ever? most fun he's ever had on a football field. Like, I just saw enough Saturday night to know that it was the right move. And as tough as it was, these guys are playing inspired football right now.
Yeah, no, it's got 20 seconds left to render, so I'll get that up here shortly. But no, and that kind of shifts the focus here. I know that the big talk now is, can Spencer Danielson land this full-time gig? And I know a lot of, they're still fairly early, I feel like, in the process. We haven't heard too much come out about interviews and names and things like that. But, and again, like I said, some of this, Spencer Danielson is extremely fortunate with the way the Mountain West shook out, that he is going to potentially lead them to a Mountain West championship game. I've put it on record, Jay. I'm not sure if you're willing to put it on record or what your thoughts are, but I mean, if you can get a Kellen Moore or a Chris Peterson or one of those just slam dunk home run hires, you do that. But once we start getting into the second level, and nothing against the James Madison coach and the Texas State coach Kinney, and I know he's a hot name,
Sean
and some
Lewis,
of these other
any of these names,
once you get into the coordinators, like even a Ryan Grubb, like there's guys like that are maybe potentially really sexy names. I don't know if once you get to that second tier, I don't know if that's much of an upgrade over Spencer Danielson. And when you throw in what Spencer Danielson, the players already love him. He has the locker room. He knows the recruiting ties. He knows the building. Everybody knows him. It would just be a seamless transition. Would you want to make some changes to the coaching staff? Probably. Maybe you don't bring the entire coaching staff back. But I said it like the day that he was named the interim coach before the Utah State game even happened. I feel like after the Utah State game, some fans are kind of slowly coming on board here. And again, I guess what I'm saying is I think Boise State could do a lot worse than Spencer Danielson. I think that, again, if you can get the home run, and I'm not even sure like Tom Herman or one of those guys I would consider in that home run higher area, but if you could just get a slam dunk, no doubt about it guy, yes. But once you get down to a lot of the names I'm seeing on people's lists, Holden McKee, I like you, man. You watch all the shows. I don't think your list. I don't love some of the names on your list, and I don't personally feel like Spencer Danielson, should not be on a list with some of the names I'm seeing. So Jay, I don't know where you stand on it, but I think if they win a Mountain West championship here, if they can win these next 2 weeks, Jeremiah Dickey's going to have a very hard, very hard choice, very hard decision to not hire Spencer Danielson.
So I'm right there with you. I am right there with you. There are a couple of names that if they want this job, a la a Kellen Moore, that you simply could not pass up the opportunity to have him be the head coach of the Boise State football program. I'll get back to that in a second as you see Spencer Danielson get dumped with the Gatorade bath. It's funny, BJ, with about 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, I texted our photog that was down on the field, John Mark Crum, and I said, hey, man, I just got a feeling something's going to happen. Get ready for, when near the clock expires, put the camera on Spencer Danielson because I think he might get a Gatorade bath. And lo and behold, he gets a Gatorade bath in a regular season game, BJ, to pick up their sixth victory of the year. It was clearly a very special moment. I'll let you take this one because you were down there capturing it as well.
Yeah, this was the post-game interview and he starts that the players were waiting to do some sort of either the prayer or the huddle, and they were waiting for Spencer to come back around, and he was right by him, and they're all chanting his name, and he looks over at him, and finally they all just got up and ran and got behind the camera there and started mobbing him, and it was obviously an emotional moment for him right there, for all these players, and you see how excited the players are for him, but also they're hugging each other. I mean, guys and it's starting to rain at this point, and they just won 45-10. And I mean, it was just a pretty cool moment. And then as the video plays, you're going to see one by one players going up and hugging Spencer Danielson. You see his wife come over and talk to him. It's a moment of 15 minutes, that Spencer Danielson will never forget. And whatever happens here with the coaching search moving forward, Spencer Danielson has a game ball from his first win as interim head coach. He has this moment with all of his players around him on a live TV interview. And I just think that, again, I always hate this because we're comparing to Andy Avalos, and obviously, it's necessary. It's not necessarily an even comparison at times. And when you're saying something positive about one guy, it looks like you're just trying to be negative about the other guy, which isn't always the case. But you didn't see a lot of emotion like this with players, with Andy Avalos at times. And so I get it. You look at the quality of wins and things like that, but you look at players lining up one by one just and coaches to hug him and to be with them. And I just, again, you didn't see a ton of this at times with the Andy Avalos in terms of the players in the locker room. And I think it's very noteworthy. And if you're like myself on the train of, and on the thought of, hey, man, just give this guy a chance, make him the head coach, I think he would be a phenomenal hire. I think moments like this would help back up your case in terms of what he would mean to this program.
Yeah, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And I think a very important part of this next hire, BJ, is to be super forward-thinking with where college football is going, right? And I think that in the head coach position, you have to have somebody that, I mean, in all honesty, is likable. Like, he has to be able to be he has to be able to get the job done, clearly, but he has to also be likable, because you have to be able to relate to 105 different characters in your locker room as players, and beyond that, as coaches, staff, personnel, all of these things. And I just think that is imperative, that they get somebody in place like that. And Spencer Danielson, in my mind, definitely checks those boxes. He is completely genuine. Like, everything you see out of Spencer Danielson is 100% the person that he is 100% of the time. I have never seen him in necessarily a bad mood. I'm assuming that for him this year, maybe even the last couple of years, hasn't been super easy, but by talking with him at press conferences or whatever it might be, you could literally never tell that, right? And so his mood never affects anybody else's mood. I just think all of these things are important. And yesterday, BJ, I asked him also about how he would approach things if he were a head coach, whether it be now, tomorrow, 5 years from now, as it pertains to his coaching staff. And these are only things that, time will truly tell. But he said he's a believer that you hire good people and you let them do their jobs. And he delegated a ton of responsibility last week to some of his assistant coaches, and then he gave them a ton of praise after the game. Immediately after the game at Monday's press conference, he just continues to praise their efforts. And I thought one thing that was kind of cool about last week, BJ, is Spencer said that, you know, even though he was calling plays, he was the defensive coordinator. They allowed 10 points, which was the fewest Utah State has allowed in a game this season. 9 sacks, double-digit tackles for loss. I mean, the 4 turnovers. It was the best defensive effort we've seen out of Boise State in probably years. I mean, it really was.
Yeah.
And he said that, you know, for a majority of the week, he's like, I just got to be with the guys. And that meant some of his assistant coaches doing some other things that, you know, push the boundaries on what their roles have been so far this year, whether it be watching film, coming up with the game plan, implementing a game plan, communicating with Spencer what they were seeing, what they felt was the right thing to do on game day. And he just kind of delegated that out. And he said, I just need to be with the guys right now. So he spent more time in the locker room. He spent more time with the players, and the results were still there. And I say more time. He also spent less time at practice. Not only him, everyone, right? I think that was a huge refreshing piece to this whole thing too, because you did hear, like, over the last, you know, definitely this year, over the last few weeks, maybe over the last couple of years, that it has turned into a little bit of a grind. And, you know, you're right. Sometimes it feels like we're piling on, but I personally believe that I know enough now. And it's tough because we haven't really had much of a chance to hear a counter argument. But I just know enough that the change was probably called for and necessary. And now they get to kind of move on. And football seemed fun again. I don't know how anybody could watch that game and not absolutely see that 100%, that football seemed fun again. It was joyful. It was a wonderful night for those players and that coaching staff in Logan, Utah. And I think a lot of it had to do with the players' response, not necessarily to a coaching firing, but to a certain guy taking over right now who they just want to play for. I mean, I'll add one more thing, BJ, and a lot of people will assume that I'm talking about a running back, because I don't know. We haven't talked to Ashton Genty, so this is not the player that I'm referring to. But, like, I know that there's a guy or guys on the team that even are trying to work their way back from injuries, that are pushing the limits because they want to play for Spencer Danielson that badly. Like, I know that to be the fact of at least one of the guys on the team, and maybe even a couple. So that. On top of
I think you could have made a strong case that if Andy Avalos was still head coach, you wouldn't have seen Ashton Genty playing against Utah State.
Maybe I personally don't know, but maybe.
Yeah, I don't either.
Either way, we saw him play against Utah State with Spencer Danielson, and he played a great game. On top of this too, BJ, one thing that, man, I actually think kind of screams volumes of what's going on right now is something that has nothing to do with what's going on Saturdays or the scoreboard or even the players in that locker room. It's the future potential players in that locker room. Spencer Danielson has landed 2 verbal commits in really like the last, 16, 18 hours?
Which is unheard of.
I don't know if I would.
What player commits to an interim head coach?
What? Like what? He's been on the job for about a week now. I guess this technically would be his 8th day as the interim head coach, and he's landed 2 verbal commits. Like what? Like that? I don't know. That just doesn't happen. Like commits just don't come out, and when they don't know the future of the program, they're not like, yeah, I'm good. Let's just roll the dice here. Like, so I just can't ignore that, man. That says something to me. And I need to reiterate your first point, because I feel like I am going a little far here. I really do agree with you. If there is some home run hire out there that is willing to come to Boise State, accept the responsibility and the pressures and expectations that come with this program, accept the paycheck that he can get here at Boise State, then you have to make that move. But if you start to get down the list a little bit here, then I agree with you. I think that Spencer Danielson all of a sudden should be a very a highly coveted or highly considered candidate for this job, BJ. I really believe that.
Yeah. I think you could do a lot worse than Spencer Danielson. I get it. Some people want to look at his track record. The defense wasn't great for the majority of this season, but I also think that's a little short-sighted with the last 4 or 5 years. They had the number 6 defense in the country last year. He's been considered for several years to be an up-and-coming star in the coaching business. They have 9 bad games, and all of a sudden, people want the guy fired, let alone named head coach. So I do feel like some of the people that want to talk about his age, want to talk about his lack of experience. I mean, I know people saying, "Oh, well, even Andy went and was a coordinator at Oregon for a couple of years, and Harshan was at Texas." And I do get that, but sometimes you just get a feeling, man. And these guys love him, and they say, I get the whole other counter argument. You can't go with emotion and all this. But this team has a chance to still win 9 games. I mean, it is, and I just think it's
9 games, a Mountain West championship, and potentially an LA Bowl. Like that would be. If you want to just go off those accomplishments, BJ, that would be their most successful season in years.
Yeah, and I'll be completely honest with you too. I mean, I think they could. I think we both saw the blowout coming against Utah State. I see maybe not quite as bad, but I see this. I see Boise State maybe having a chance to win this one by double digits as well. I think this is a game that Boise State comes out and Air Force in part has lost 3 in a row, and they're dealing with a freshman quarterback, and I get it. Now Air Force is playing as well. Air Force has a chance with a win here. They're still alive in this, so I know they're going to come out inspired here. But they've pretty much given this away the last 3 weeks, as you said. They had a chance to be in the New Year's Six. They were rolling, and we were all thinking it's going to be an 11-1 Air Force team coming in, and then next thing you're 11-0 Air Force team, and now you look at it and it's been falling off the train tracks. And so from that standpoint, that's part of my reasoning. But I also just think like Boise State's like they're just rolling, man. They're on a mission. And I see them just whoever you put in front of them right now. I think Boise State would play really well and have a chance to win. And you saw the inspired play of the defense. You mentioned the 4 turnovers. You saw what Boise State did offensively and getting Genty and Helani going. And we'll see what the crowd looks like on a Black Friday afternoon game. But this could be an exciting one, man. And I do want to touch on the computer rankings briefly and a couple other things. We got to get one quick timeout in. I'll let you make sure the family's doing okay behind you. And we'll be right back in 90 seconds. Computer rankings, more of this talk, and we'll hit on basketball real quick as well. Don't go anywhere, Bronco Nation News. All Bronco Nation News broadcasts come from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mix premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Spirits, perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Our title sponsor is rowpaint.com. For all your commercial, industrial, residential painting needs, check out rowpaint.com. Don't forget about their concrete coatings. Transform that ugly concrete slab on your back patio in your garage in just one day. Contact rowpaint.com for a free estimate today. The official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, and our title sponsor at Bronco Nation News is rowpaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union's been helping members achieve financial success for more than 80 years. There's an ICCU branch on almost every corner, but the closest is in your pocket with free eBranch mobile and online banking. See why more than 500,000 members love ICCU and join 1 in 4 Idahoans by making the switch today at ICCU.com. Since 1984, Ridley's Family Markets has prided itself on being a hometown food and drug store that employed value members of the local community. Ridley's Family Markets has 13 locations in the state of Idaho and many more in the surrounding states. Download the new Ridley's app to your smartphone. Get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line and find a location near you at shopridleys.com. Former Bronco Matt Bauscher is once again the number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. No home is too big or too small for Matt and his team. Let them fulfill all your real estate needs at BauscherRealEstate.com. All right, Jay. Well, we'll see what happens here. Boise State, we're both on board, and I'm not going to lie. I think part of this at least on my end, Jay, is the media aspect of this. We had to deal, with Andy and some of the things that made our job a little more difficult. So I will throw that out there. That's part of my reasoning. I think he would do a great job as head coach, but I also think he would do a great job connecting with boosters, connecting with fans, connecting with media. You've heard his press conferences, and I know you put it out there and I retweeted you, but we've gotten more in a couple of press conferences from Spencer Danielson than we have in the last 3 years in terms of injury updates and news and passion when you speak. And again, another thing where it looks like we're slam dunking on Andy Avalos, but I think fans, you can see it. You watch the press conferences. It is night and day how they attack the press conferences. And so go ahead.
The way that I phrased one of them, BJ, last week is I said that it was he gave us the most detailed injury report in the history of Boise State football. At least And since I've been associated with the program, which is, again, is going back to the end of the Chris Peterson era. So 13, this is my 13th season, I think. And that was the most detailed injury report we have ever received. And they won 45-10.
You're saying you don't need to be super secretive and you can still win?
I guess not. And Spencer's whole thing behind it is he said that he wanted to make sure that we all had accurate information about his players. And he felt like that was his responsibility to his players. Now, there are a lot of coaches in college football that do not give any type of injury updates. There's a lot of coaches in college football now that don't allow access to practices and all these types of things, right? And Spencer has been gracious so far in our limited time of giving us some type of access. I mean, we were even allowed to watch a little bit of team last week. I don't know if I've ever been allowed to watch team in season. And what that means is like 11 on 11 in practice so that you can kind of get a feel for some of the guys out there, how they might utilize things, maybe tempo they'll use, things like that. And that has just been something that has been off limits to us. Now, that's also for us to have, there are some certain things, if we're allowed to do that, we just kind of use it for background for our own knowledge so that when the game happens, we can better explain things.
Sure.
But even the opportunity to do that was significant and cool.
Then that was, I've been here 11 years, man. I'll just throw it out there. This is the first, I got a text message from the interim head coach, and that hasn't happened in my 11 years here. The head football coach has reached out to me outside of the press conferences. So I'll keep the conversation between us, but I'll just say this, that hasn't happened to me. And I'm sure you probably did as well, but in 11 years to get a text message from the coach and then send one back and get a response again fairly quickly. It's just a whole new world around here, man. So would love to see him get the job, but obviously a lot still has to happen.
I'm assuming we're going to transition real quick here, but I do want to add, when is the last time Jeremiah Dickey really let Bronco Nation down? I don't even know if he has, right?
Yeah.
And he said that this was going to be a national search. He was going to do his due diligence. Even if there was an obvious person or people or whatever that should be a part of this process, he was going to vet the process and really follow through. And I mean, I fully expect that he's doing that. I laughed last week because I saw that, was it Football Scoop that reported Kellen Moore was going to be on the list or whatever. And you responded yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Kellen Moore's going to be on the list. Those are options that, what is
Hold on a second, K. Foster. This is not true. We are not texting buddies. I want to make that clear. It was a quick congratulations text back. It wasn't exactly but I did want to say that just show another of the 50 million reasons why things are different around here. Mm-hmm. I wasn't trying to brag or say whatever. It was just a quick thing. It is what it was. But we both just, the fact that you can do that and not be scared that it'll go straight to the SID or something or get a response. It just shows you the differences is I guess all I'm trying to say, but we're not texting buddies.
Yeah, I hear you. I'll just finish that thought though. Jeremiah, I always hear him use, he always says that, he's going to run out all the ground balls. I love baseball analogies, right? And I fully expect him to do that. I think that they got the right person in place to lead the athletic department right now, and they have the exact right person that they need to be the interim head coach right now in order to maybe make the season the best since 2017. BJ,
yeah, could be.
I mean, you could call this if they win on Friday. And then I'm right there with your boy Mike Sanford. If they get UNLV in Vegas, they're going to crush them. I fully believe that. And this might, wind up on Cold Takes Exposed or whatever it is, but I fully believe that too. I'm right there with Sanford, and great opportunity for Bronco Nation to show up and watch something special happen on Friday. Again, this still has a chance to be the best season that Boise State has had since 2017. As crazy as that sounds, 2019 was good, but they also got boat raced in Vegas against the University of Washington in the bowl game. So that's why I don't know if win totals should necessarily dictate what is success and failure right now. If they can win these next couple of games, and even though 9 wins isn't double digits, if they get a Mountain West Conference championship and a bowl victory out of it, probably their best season since Leighton Vander Esch was roaming around as a linebacker at Boise State.
Jordan says that Danielson would have texted you, but you got 3,000 unread text messages. Not quite that many, right?
Not quite that many.
What are we at? I'm going to guess 246.
246? Nah, man. It's week 12 of football season, bud.
What do we got here?
1,532.
Are you serious? Hold that up. Can we see that? I don't know. It's too hard to see, but
it's not going to show.
1,500 from how many different people?
I don't know. A lot of this too, like they're just.
And I feel even more honored than usual when I get a response now.
Yeah,
wow.
you should.
1,500 unread text messages.
Yeah, I leave Dad's text messages unread, but definitely always respond.
I might have folks beat though. I've got 90,000. Now they're not unread because they go on my computer, but I've got 90,000 on the mail.
Oh man, that's another thing too. I monitor my work email. Oh God, I'm not even going to show you that one because you don't have me beat.
Oh man,
my Gmail account, like I don't monitor that daily, so there's a lot of unread text messages. It's my KTVB account that I make sure I'm on top of.
Yep, yeah. So, but they're not actually unread because I read them on my computer, but I do get a lot of spam and stuff. But yeah, 90,286.
One for every subscriber.
There you go. Not quite, but we're getting close to that. All right, quickly, I do want to talk about the computer rankings. We've both looked at this. We've both studied this. What do you think the chances are that if Boise State beats Air Force, they could still get past?
I just don't think that's likely. I just don't think it can. It definitely could happen. I mean, these computer rankings are kind of tricky. I mean, just for example, there was one last week, and it was the one that we were waiting for up until 8:30 on Sunday night, where Boise State jumped about 10 spots. Now that seems like it's significant movement, BJ, for this late in the season. If that can happen with every single one of those polls, then maybe it can happen where San Jose State's win, hypothetical potential win, whatever, at UNLV this weekend would be enough. But I just don't see that being super realistic when Boise State is playing an Air Force team that's at 54. UNLV is at 34.8 or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. I just don't think there's enough of a gap there where even if San Jose State is able to beat UNLV, that it would be enough to pass Boise State. A fan asked me this on Twitter, and I think this is the best way to phrase this. Easily, I'm way more concerned about Boise State beating Air Force than I am about Boise State beating Air Force and being passed up by San Jose State. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as long as they get that done, they're going to be okay.
I will say this: the one to keep an eye on is the Massey rankings, because for whatever reason, they are the one that has a huge gap. They've got San Jose State at 81 and Boise State at 63. All the other ones are pretty close. You have the Colley Matrix is 60 for Boise State, 68 for San Jose. But San Jose State's number is – the difference really is, Jay, that Massey rating where they've got them at 81 and they're in the 60s or 72, I guess, in the Anderson and Hester. If for some reason that Massey ranking were to all of a sudden go from 81 to 61 or something, that could change it by itself. And so I do think that Massey rating is the one to watch, because for whatever reason, it's got a much larger gap between the two than the other computers.
Yeah, there's another one out there even for I don't have the list in front of me, even UNLV's like 23 to 34 in 3 out of the 4, and then they're like 61 in one of them. It almost feels, and maybe it's good for Boise State that this isn't the case. It almost feels like they should drop, in some of these situations they drop the lowest ranking and then have the composite of like the 3 highest for all.
Or sometimes they drop the highest and the lowest and take the 3 in the middle or something.
Exactly. Yeah, it almost feels like they should do that with this, because there are a couple of scores on there, a couple of rankings that do just feel off.
Yeah, and then the whole issue with actually reading the document of what it means. Javen Headland from the Mountain West called me on Sunday during the Clemson game because so I don't say taking shots, but I was just confused on Twitter with some of the way the wording is, and it's still confusing. If everyone's read the document, we've put it out there, but it says at one point that you do this 3-team tiebreaker until one team gains an advantage, and then you would assume you'd go back to the 2-team tiebreaker. But apparently this year, because there's no divisions, and this year they're trying to get their 2 best teams playing in the championship game, they feel like the computer rankings is the best way to find your top 2 teams over a head-to-head for that second team. So they say that it was changed this year. They say it's clearly explained in number 3, which I guess you can say that, but again, it contradicts itself in my opinion. At the top, at the very top where it says 3-team tiebreaker, it says till one team gains an advantage. But then they're saying that this year they changed it because they want the top 2 teams playing, and they feel like the computer rankings assures the top 2 teams playing in the game.
Yeah, I think it also gets a little confusing too, because once those 2 teams are selected, then there is a head-to-head scenario. So from my understanding, if San Jose State wins They jump ahead of Boise State, and it is UNLV and San Jose State that are playing for the Mountain West title. Then, since San Jose State won the head-to-head, that game would actually be played in San Jose.
Wow.
Now, if Boise State were to win, since there is no head-to-head between them and UNLV, the game will be played in Vegas because of the computer rankings dictating that tiebreaker.
Which I'm actually cool with. You know what? Like, Boise State, it's not going to be a full stadium. It's not going to be some crazy environment, and you get to go play in an NFL stadium in Las Vegas. I think a lot of fans at the last minute would try to go down for that. We've seen the game in Boise a number of times. They actually played in Las Vegas. I don't remember if you went to that game or not, Jay. They played in Las Vegas the COVID year. It was against San Jose State. In 2020, and
Sam Boyd, right?
And there were like no fans in the stands, I don't think, for the game, so it doesn't really count. But they did play in 2020 in the final game of the Brian Harsin era in Las Vegas in the championship game. But I think this would be a cool. You got the Pac-12 game the night before, and then you got. I think it would almost be kind of like it was meant to be there, and I think that would be really cool to have that game in Vegas.
I do too, especially because there's not going to be a bowl game for Boise State in Vegas this year. They'd shift it back to LA. For the LA Bowl, if they were to win this game. And it just, man, it felt like we were wearing out Vegas there for a little while with this football team, whether it be, playing at UNLV, Mountain West Media Days, the basketball tournament, the Las Vegas Bowl, which Boise State frequented there for a long, long time. But now I don't feel like I've been back to watch a football game in forever in Vegas, or it doesn't feel like it's happened very often in the last 5 years for that matter. So definitely not with the frequency it was happening there for a little while. And it should be an awesome game. And your Sanford on dropped them. What is he? What's mic drop?
The mic drop. Yeah.
And he brought up that Bronco Nation has a chance to make a really big impact on this game. And man, I am not one to tell you how to spend your money. I'm not one to tell you if the comfort of your couch in front of a fireplace is better to watch this game than go for it. But this does feel like kind of one of those program moments. And again, I didn't want to overstate the importance of this game. But man, it's up there with one of the most important regular season games that Boise State has probably played since joining the Mountain West Conference. Like I really do believe that. This is a chance to go to a Mountain West Conference championship here. I mean, that is in. You have a chance to do it with a week 13 game 12 victory. This is a massive win or potential for a win here. So a massive game on the blue.
Jay, I know you got family. I don't want to keep it too long, but I'm just going to get one thought before I let you go on basketball. Obviously, tough one at Clemson. Couldn't get a rebound, which, traditionally, I looked it up. 11 of the 13 years under Leon Rice, they've been a top 25 defensive rebounding team. That was not the case on Sunday against Clemson. Tough loss, but it's an opportunity here in Orlando this week. Just your take on the basketball team.
You're man, I've said you're exactly right a couple of times this show.
I did my homework on this. I did my homework for this show.
I really think we should hit Control-Alt-Delete on this thing and erase everybody's mind, because I don't really like that getting out there. But I do think you're right once again. And so oftentimes when we talk about the success of Leon Rice's teams, defensive rebounding kind of can end up being a little bit of a boring stat. And so sometimes it's not talked about, but that is a stat that if you want to go look at the wins and losses of the Leon Rice era, the good teams versus the teams that haven't been so good, defensive rebounding is always a very key piece to Leon Rice's success. And they got crushed on the glass. And I would say that it was surprising, but it really wasn't. I mean, we knew going into that game, the battle of the boards is going to be difficult to win. Clemson has size, they have athletes, all of that stuff. And I think every year too, when we talk about the success of Leon Rice's teams, that selfless guy, the RJ Williams, the Ryan Watkins, the Najee Smith, it is always really important to identify that guy, that selfless guy that is going to get it on, go get it on the glass and not really care about scoring one night and things like that. And they need that guy to step up. I definitely think he's on this roster for sure. Maybe it's Omar Stanley. I don't exactly know, but they do need somebody like that to announce his presence on the glass moving forward.
Yeah, big opportunity this week. I kind of said all along, I mean, Leon probably wouldn't have said it at the beginning, but if they could have just gone 2-2 on this trip, given who they're playing, I thought that you would have taken that. You still have an opportunity to do that. You still have an opportunity to go 3-1. But I think that, this is obviously going to be a tough next stretch here. And then, as I said, you come back and play St. Mary's right after that in the first game. So this is
a neutral site game. You're not even going to be in the comfy confines of Extra Mile Arena. Tough schedule, man. And we said this, though. I mean, this was going to be a schedule that was going to test them. The good news is, and why fans shouldn't necessarily overreact just yet, the way they've laid this out too, like that Clemson loss is not going to hurt Boise State. I'm going to guess that's going to be a quad 1 loss when March Madness rolls around. Oh, yeah. That's my opinion. It would be a lot for that to not be a quad 1 loss. And quad 1 losses, they don't hurt you. Quad 1 wins significantly help you, but quad 1 losses aren't really going to hurt you.
Yeah. Well, I think Virginia Tech's going to be a similar team to Clemson. I don't know if they're quite as good. I think Boise State should maybe have a little better. I think the rebounding is going to be a different factor in this game because Boise State's going to be fired up.
We're going to emphasize it.
But
I think, I know that you kind of brought him up too. I'm going to give the Morales brothers a shout out here just for a second because I'm sorry that I don't remember which one tweeted this, but one of them tweeted that man, Marcus Shaver Jr., when he started playing at Boise State, was in his 4th year of college basketball, and he was coming off a season where he got to sit out and just learn it all, right? Roddy Anderson is in his 2nd year of college basketball. And I think that he's going to really take big jumps and grow and things like that. But they also probably need him to be a little more efficient. If they're going to have a chance to get, as you said, go get a couple of victories on the road this weekend, I think.
Yeah, big opportunity for them. And again, they're not necessarily going to be bad losses, but at some point as a mid-major, you can only lose so many games no matter who you play and still get in.
So yeah, you start to get of 11, 12 losses, then that's going to be really hard to overcome on selection Sunday.
And I'll say this, Cam Martin and Omar Stanley, if they're doing that, if they're combining for 26 and 11 in an ACC road environment, I think they're going to have some. The Mountain West doesn't have the quality of big men that that for the most part that they saw against Clemson. So you have to be very encouraged moving forward. At least once you get into Mountain West play with this team and what you saw. But certainly you'd like to get a couple wins down here. You have the St. Mary's game. People are putting in the comments, Jay, that's now screwing up a lot of people's plans that wanted to go to the St. Mary's game. Now we're at the championship game. I was excited to go to the St. Mary's game, but I've been looking. I don't know if I can physically make it there. So I may have to cover the St. Mary's game from the Circa Sportsbook on Friday night because I don't know if there's a way to get to Idaho Falls.
You need company then?
Yeah, we could do a live show there and in the owner's box at in the Circa Sportsbook. But I assume there'll be some press conferences on Friday during the day down there. So I'm looking to go in Thursday night potentially if they win, and then it just doesn't. I don't know if it's possible to be at that St. Mary's game, which really sucks. But the championship game takes priority, but we'll still cover it from afar if we have to. If we get to that point, I'm still trying to see if there's a way to make it work, but I just haven't found one. Just yet. There's a really early flight on Saturday, but you have a layover and you don't get there till 10 something and the game's at noon Pacific for the championship. So I just don't know if it's possible, but either way, it's exciting that we're even talking about that. But yeah, big opportunity here for basketball. We'll have to figure out Friday, Jay, game day. I don't know are you guys doing the normal show, morning show? What's your schedule on Friday?
Because it's a Friday, I actually believe that we get to do a show live on Channel 7 an hour before kickoff.
Okay. Well, I know you'll be a busy man, so we'll see if we can try to find a way to tape something or maybe do a shorter show Friday morning if possible or something just to get something out on game day. We'll have the game obviously Thursday night to talk about as well with basketball if we can, but I know you're a busy guy as well. We both have family obligations. I've got 14 counting myself people. We got both sides of our family coming together at an Airbnb down here in Orlando starting tomorrow. We're at the hotel right now.
Thanksgiving. That's awesome.
We ordered Cracker Barrel catering for 14 people. It's like $500. We're going to have all the fixins and pie and everything on Thanksgiving, and you don't have to worry
about making any of it.
We'll do that at noon. The only problem is if Boise State beats Virginia Tech, Jay, they're going to have the football and basketball game going on at the same time on Friday. We'll have to figure that out. If Boise State loses on Thursday, then they play at 8 p.m. again Eastern, which would be 6 Pacific or 6 Mountain. So it would start right about when the football game's ending. But
what are you rooting for?
If Boise State wins, I think you got to root for 2 games at the same time. It's better for Boise State. I'm
just kidding.
If If they win, they would play at, I believe it's 5:30 here in Vegas, so it would be 3:30. So right about halftime of the football game would be the basketball game starting. So, which again is a bad beat for Leon Rice because that'd be a top 25 Iowa State team in the semifinals. But
dude, Boise State's gonna have that thing put away at halftime against Air Force.
There you go. Then you can just switch over. And Hunter says I'll drive you to Vegas, so maybe we can work something out. Hunter, we'll see about that. But appreciate you, Jay, for jumping on. I know you guys got a lot going on as well. I think Ashton Genty's going to be talking. Yeah, Ashton Genty's going to be talking today. We'll get those up on the YouTube channel. I know KTVB is going to have you covered there on all the various newscasts and platforms as well with the interviews, some coaches and players tomorrow. And then, Thanksgiving on Thursday, basketball Thursday night, and then football Friday and UNLV on Saturday. So it's going to be a fun couple of days. And I got a strong feeling that we're going to be heading to Las Vegas next week, man. I just really do.
I do too. Mostly because it's going to mess up the holidays, and I'm going to have to make sure that I get the Christmas lights up this Saturday, or else they're not going to get up for like another 2 weeks. So that's
and if you've seen Jay put up Christmas lights, this
is no joke. Okay,
Jay,
master at exterior illumination. Take pride.
If this media thing doesn't work out, I think Jay could have a future in one of those companies that you pay to put up your Christmas lights, because he can. It's pretty solid what you can do there on the house, man.
I'll let you break it down on a BNN show coming up before Christmas.
There you go. Nate says just book the tickets, gentlemen. Yeah, we may have to here. I think it might be there. So, Jay, appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving to your family. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. I'm going to post Mike Prater's column here shortly, and then we'll have Prater and I tomorrow morning. We'll have plenty of coverage down here from Orlando and back from Boise as well. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We appreciate you for checking us out. Go subscribe if you can, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bronco Nation News Live, Bronco Nation News